Well, welcome all. One of the pleasures, or it could even be a pain, of owning a cinema camera or a camera of a similar ilk where things can be interchanged and moved around at will to suit the circumstances. I've yet again gone and done some modifications to my run and gun rig. As you can probably see from there, I've removed the microphone that I had there, the VideoMic NTG, as I sort of found that it wasn't really being used to its full potential, if at all. And with the narrative stuff that I was doing at a couple of shows and that, I was using the Wireless Go 2 for interview type work predominantly, and I found that it was far better and far easier for what I was doing not to have a microphone sticking out the side. It was a bit of a pain also just carrying it around, because it used to bump into everything across my leg and whatnot. But the main point was that it enables me to actually do something a little bit better and getting better quality by using the wireless mics. Now, after I did that, I had a little bit of a niggling sort of issue with the NTG microphone that I've got here attached to my Zoom F6, and it's only just attached there for illustrative purposes, but it can be used as it is, and I'll show some examples shortly. But I wanted to sort of be able to still use both of them rather than just abandoning the shotgun mic, and I found that it's much easier for me now to utilise that when the circumstances dictate, and in the sort of run and gun situation, use the wireless mics for what I really need to or want to do with the microphones and the camera. So what I've done is I've actually attached the Wireless Go 2 receiver onto the camera, because that gives me the flexibility to give a microphone to myself and to somebody else so that they can speak. And I've also then attached a Wireless Go 1 transmitter into a double adapter, so that the transmitter will actually send the signal to the Zoom F6, and that means I've got a secondary or tertiary backup of audio, because the monitor actually will record audio as well. But it gives me some flexibility in the style of audio that I'm getting, and when I show you some examples, you'll sort of perhaps get an understanding of what I'm talking about, where the duality of the Go 1 and the Go 2 work very nicely together to allow me a greater degree of flexibility with audio capture. So I did a quick test out in my usual Mossvale Park scenario by having the microphones connected basically as you see, and I'll actually give you a closer look at what I've done so you understand how I've set this thing up, because it's not easy to see from where you're viewing right now. But my tests in Mossvale Park showed that this combination is actually quite effective, and it's actually very interesting when you actually will be hearing the audio that I've recorded, given the background noises and so on that occurred there, and I'll talk about them a little bit later after you've seen the video. But it's a very nice little workable solution for me, and it actually gives me what is a lot more svelte setup, and it's quite flexible as long as I remember to turn the transmitters on and the receivers on. But otherwise, I'm very, very happy now with that sort of change in microphone combination. I can always go back to the Rode on camera if I want to, no issue there. But I think that primarily I'll be using the camera rig as it's set up, and I think I'll be going from there and using the NTG as a separate microphone when I really need to get ambient audio and whatever else, or if I'm going to be doing some sort of a sit-down presentation or whatever with an interview or interviewee, and need to have a microphone closer. But I'm very happy with the way the wireless Go systems work, and I'm not really sure that there's a great need for using a shotgun mic close to an interviewee or so on, even though generally the quality is going to be better. I'm not too sort of sure if it's going to be that much better with a microphone of that nature. Certainly if you get some high quality ones, NTG5s and things like that, it's a different story. But then much, much more expensive units, far beyond what I really need as a system. So What I'll do is I'll just show you the actual camera setup, or the microphone setup on the side of the camera now, so you get an idea of what I've actually put together, and then I'll show you the video from the park, and then I'll have a bit of a catch-up talk on what it all means to me, and what observations I've made from the 3 audio signals that I've actually captured during that test that I did at the park. So I'll show you now the close-ups of the setup, and then we'll go to the immediately after that we'll go to the audio recording, or the video and audio recording that I did at the park. Okay, what you can see there now is a 15mm cheese rail that I've attached to my existing point where I used to have the Rode video mic connected, and this is a longer one, and to that I've added 3 cold shoes to hold the Wireless Go 2 receiver, Wireless Go 1 transmitter, and I've also got on the lower half a Wireless Go 2 transmitter, which I can just take off and hand to somebody, so I can just keep mine on my shirt or whatever as I would normally do. Now the Wireless Go 2 receiver is the one on the left, and there's a double adapter connected to that with a cable going to the XLR port and another cable going into the transmitter on the right, the Wireless Go 1 transmitter on the right. So this is all nicely tucked away. When I carry it around or put it in my case or whatever, I'll take the transmitter off the bottom part so it doesn't get damaged or fall off or get lost. But otherwise it's now very handy where everything is located, and it all seems to work quite well. So this is now sort of just combined, made my unit a little bit narrower, and made it a little bit more flexible as far as I'm concerned. So as I said, if I want to use the NTG on the camera, it's very easy to just clip it on. I can actually slide it onto the cold shoe that's holding the Wireless Go 2 transmitter on the bottom at the moment, and then just plug it in. So there's no real issues to use that if I want to. But the way I've got this set up at the moment, I'm fairly happy, as I mentioned, and I think for the moment that's the way my rig's going to look. So that's it, and now let's have a look at the video. Okay, what I've got here is a rather simple audio test. I've got the Zoom F6 on a bench here out in the park with the VideoMic NTG attached to the top of it, and a receiver from the Go 1 attached to the Zoom F6 itself. What I'm just doing here is getting a bit of ambient noise just to see how the NTG picks stuff up with the F6. A couple of days ago I was here and the place was making a huge amount of noise with dozens of rosellas everywhere, and now there's just magpies squawking away here and there. Now on the camera itself, I'm recording with the Go 2 into the camera from the Go 2 transmitter, and I'm also sending to the F6 a signal with a Go 1, so that I just get a variation of what's going on here. And I'm just hand holding the camera today. I like to practice the different options that I have, so this isn't going to necessarily be the steadiest of anything, but all it is a test. Okay, what I've got here is a rather simple audio test. I've got the Zoom F6 on a bench here out in the park with the VideoMic NTG attached to the top of it, and a receiver from the Go 1 attached to the Zoom F6 itself. What I'm just doing here is getting a bit of ambient noise just to see how the NTG picks stuff up with the F6. A couple of days ago I was here and the place was making a huge amount of noise with dozens of rosellas everywhere, and now there's just magpies squawking away here and there. Now on the camera itself, I'm recording with the Go 2 into the camera from the Go 2 transmitter, and I'm also sending to the F6 a signal with a Go 1, so that I just get a variation of what's going on here. And I'm just hand holding the camera today. I like to practice the different options that I have, so this isn't going to necessarily be the steadiest of anything, but all it is a test. Okay, what I've got here is a rather simple audio test. I've got the Zoom F6 on a bench here out in the park with the VideoMic NTG attached to the top of it, receiver from the Go 1 attached to the Zoom F6 itself. What I'm just doing here is getting a bit of ambient noise just to see how the NTG picks stuff up with the F6. A couple of days ago I was here and the place was making a huge amount of noise with dozens of rosellas everywhere, and now there's just magpies squawking away here and there. Now on the camera itself I'm recording with the Go 2 into the camera from the Go 2 transmitter, and I'm also sending to the F6 a signal with a Go 1, so that I just get a variation of what's going on here. And I'm just hand holding the camera today. I like to practice the different options that I have, so this isn't going to necessarily be the steadiest of anything, but all it is a test. Okay, what I've got here is a rather simple audio test. I've got the Zoom F6 on a bench here out in the park with the VideoMic NTG attached to the top of it, and a receiver from the Go 1 attached to the Zoom F6 itself. What I'm just doing here is getting a bit of ambient noise just to see how the NTG picks stuff up with the F6. A couple of days ago I was here and the place was making a huge amount of noise with dozens of rosellas everywhere, and now there's just magpies squawking away here and there. Now on the camera itself I'm recording with the Go 2 into the camera from the Go 2 transmitter, and I'm also sending to the F6 a signal with a Go 1, so that I just get a variation of what's going on here. And I'm just hand holding the camera today. I like to practice the different options that I have, so this isn't going to necessarily be the steadiest of anything, but all it is a test. Okay, as you've seen from the videos, the audio that came out from the wireless Go 2 microphone that I had attached to myself and going into camera was actually quite good. The audio that went into the F2, or the F6 I should say, was also very good. Had a deeper sort of a tone to it, a timbre that the in-camera microphone or the audio didn't pick up in the same way, but I think it's a matter of taste how you want to listen to that sort of audio or present that sort of audio, and I'm pretty sure you could match it up with Fairlight. I don't really have the skills to play around with the audio aspects of that, not yet, so I think it's possible to match them up reasonably well and bring them to a similar sort of a sounding audio, but that's by the by. The other interesting thing was the microphone picked up the audio background, because I was facing with my back towards a nearby highway about half a kilometre or so away. You could hear truck noises and things on there all the time. Now, the interesting thing was that because I had my back towards that highway, my voice coming from the actual Go 2 microphone into the camera was very clean. There was no background noise at all, and it sounded very, very good. And the noise that was being picked up, or the audio that was being picked up by the F6 and the road, was quite interesting. You could hear clearly the truck noises in the background, but what surprised me was it picked up my voice as well quite well. Now I was about 4 or so metres away from the bench, and I had to actually normalise the audio. I normalised it for everything to -16 LUFS, and I was really surprised at how the Zoom F6, it was set to 32-bit, and we've talked about this before as to whether the Go transmitters transmit analog or not, but it was able to boost that sound quite clearly and quite crisply, so that you could hear my voice from about 4 or so metres away, and you could hear all the background noise that was going from half a kilometre away as well. So that's actually not too bad. I was quite surprised by that. All I was expecting to hear was a lot of background noise and no vocal audio from myself as I was speaking at the microphone. So that's quite interesting as to what it can do. So I'm quite impressed with the F6. It's a very, very capable audio recorder, and as you can sort of see from this little brick combination here, it's very, very portable. You can put that virtually anywhere and get really good audio all the time. Now I also audio sync them with the timecode app that I showed a while ago. So again, it was very easy to combine the audio from all 3 units in Resolve when I wanted to put them together. So that again showed that it works, and very, very useful app to have, saving you a fair bit of money if your circumstances suit, rather than buying things like technical syncs and so on, which you need to buy individual units for every device that you have. So the cost goes up considerably, whereas with this, connect the app. You can always just do a quick catch up if you need to, just by resetting it again and ensuring that all the audio is synced. But there's very, very little difference. The drift is so small that I'd say in an hour or 2 of audio it'd be negligible, and very easy to sort out in the NLE. So that's quite an interesting little change, and I'm very happy with the results there. An interesting byline here is that after I put my previous video up about the road being so awkward to find out where there's updates and so on, about a week later I received an email from Rode, a generic one from the registration, saying that there's been an upgrade to the Rode 2, but still they failed to say what version it is. So the only way to find out is to download it again, unzip it, install it, and then find out, oh, it's the same one. So why on earth they can't actually give you your firmware versions, beggars belief. But that's the way they seem to work, and they seem to be quite happy with it. But I think it's a pretty poor sort of showing anyway. But that's what I've done. Take it on board. I think it works quite well for me anyway, and it might suit your style if you're in the narrative type environment where you want to move quickly, you're interviewing people, you just whack on the Wireless Go 2 onto your interviewee, and you as an interviewer can have a Go wireless as well, and off you go. So I think that's a really sort of a good combination for this sort of work, the work that I certainly plan to do. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So on that note, I'll just say cheers.